All right, welcome back to Club Junkies. What's in the bag for Week 20 Men's League? It's been a rough go. I know this is Week 20. This is technically we played 20 weeks. This should be the last week, but it's not. We actually had a couple rain outs, so we will have a couple more weeks. And I'm just going to keep playing. As the weather stays nice, I'm going to keep playing Thursday nights, maybe Wednesdays. We'll see. But I'll do a What's in the Bag video for when I go and play. Last week, I know it was just an absolute roller coaster disaster. I shot a 43. I had 3 triple bogeys. I had 2 birdies on the card, and then a couple pars and a couple bogeys or whatever. So it was terrible. I hit some just horrible shots. I made some putts, and yeah, I made a few putts to keep me in it. Other than that, it was just an absolute struggle. I wish I could say there was something great about it, but I hit driver poorly. I think the only thing I hit fairly well, at least after the first hole, was wedges, and I putted okay. I've actually made a long putt for birdie on, what was it, I think 2, and then I birdied the par 5 with like 3 really good shots, and then just missed a putt. But yeah, I mean, it was just, I think I had a putt for, did I putt for eagle? No, I laid up, made a putt. So it was one of those, just an absolute roller coaster round. But wedges I hit really well. Driver, first tee I was going to hit driver, hit it OB right, had to drop, punch out from some trees, made a 7 on a 4, which is terrible. But then I get to the 8th hole and hit a really good drive down the left side that leaves me 2 something out. I lay up right in front of the green and knock it on and make a long putt. So it just depended. I mean, I had clubs that I hit really well and then clubs that I didn't. I hit some terrible iron shots, and then I actually flushed an iron shot on a par 3, made another putt, and made birdie. So it was just one of those up and down things. But yeah, the top end of the bag has been the struggle. The chipping and putting has kind of kept me in it and stopped things from really, really blowing up. So this week, kind of technically last week in a sense, so we're going to go something a little bit different. We're going a mix of old school and new school. So a lot of my old school stuff, as you see here, will be Callaway, because I used to do demo day stuff for Callaway years and years ago, and have a lot of Callaway stuff from back in the day. And I'm going to mix in some other stuff as well. So we're going to kind of go a little bit of old school, a little bit of new, and we'll start from the top as we always do. And this was a little experiment I messed with a couple years ago that people kind of bashed me for it, but whatever. But for the driver, we're going the Callaway OG FT Tour. This is a 10.5 head, and it's actually a tour issue head. It's neutral, but it's got the PT serial number on it. 10.5 head. These things were absolute cannons back in the day. I love this thing. I think I got it pretty cheap from somebody. It was used, but a 10.5 head, neutral weighted, and I put in basically a brand new Ventus, Fujikura Ventus Blue 6X. So this is actually a touch short in this head. I think I had this thing in a different adapter. And I had it in there, and then it's got a Lamkin Z-Cord Align grip on it. But this thing, if you can get it on the screws, it goes forever. So still an absolute cannon. I loved this driver back in the day. I had one. I think I had 2 of them. I had one with the Mitsubishi Kylie in it, the blue Kylie, and then I also had one with a Fubuki in it also. So this is cool. Tour issue head. Yeah, it'll be kind of fun. We'll see. Hitting it, it's definitely not forgiving. It is definitely small and compact, but I've been hitting every other driver fairly poorly anyway. So, let's go old school and give this bad boy a shot. I remember these things coming in even a few years after they came out, and if you had a good player who could hit the center, these things were tough to beat because at the time they were really low spin and they had great ball speed. So if a guy came walking up with one of these and you were doing a little fit, it was tough because you knew if he could hit the center of the face, it was going to be a long day. So 3-wood is going to be another old school one. This was one of the longest running clubs in my bag. This is the Callaway XR16 3-wood. This thing is, I got this thing in 2016. I got it as a head only. I got it off a guy, head only. Put a shaft in it. This actual shaft, this is the Project X Hazardous Red, the handcrafted model. In all black, which is the one they did, I guess, for tour because they didn't like the super bright red on tour. But this is a 75, 6.5, so a 75X. In this head, it's 42.5 inches long, so kind of short. It's got a few grams of hot melt in the head, and I played this from 2016 all the way to 2019-ish. I think 19 when Maverick came out, I finally replaced this. But before then, I had this. I swapped out this shaft, put a Ventus Red in it, for a little while. this thing was just magic. It was the club I used when I was in trouble, or I had to, get one in the fairway, whatever. This thing was just my absolute like crutch. And yeah, I pulled it apart, used both shafts in something different later on. I put it back together. Magic just wasn't there. And then I redid this year. As you can see, I have like a new grip on it. I rebuilt it this year up to the way it was. And I took it out once. Didn't have a whole lot of magic left in it. But I mean, I could hit this thing off the deck. I could hit it off the tee. I could do everything with it. It was really, really good. So we're going to take it back out, see what it goes like. I say, put a little hot melt in this thing. It's got a nice low crack to it when it goes. Huge fan. This thing was my savior for 3 years, and I wish I could get the same love back out of it. So then we go to something a little bit new school. So in between 3-wood and irons, we're going to go with the Mizuno ST Max Hybrid. This is the 19 degree, turned up to 20, and this just has a 75 UST Link Blue 75 F5, which is an X-Flex shaft in it. But this is set to 20, so standard, one click up. And this will be basically 7-wood or 3-iron, but we'll probably use it a lot off the tee. Doubt I will ever hit it off the deck at either when we're playing the front 9 or back 9. Won't hit it off the deck there. I think we're playing the back 9. So, but this thing here is really solid. Off the tee, it's really good. It's forgiving. It goes fairly high, and yeah, it just gets a little more roll out there than a 7-wood when you're hitting it off the turf or off the tee. So then irons. Going back old school, baby. So go from new to old. And one of my favorite sets of irons of all time, the Callaway X Tour Forged. So these were, I think, 2004. Mine look a little funky. I dipped them in toilet bowl cleaner for like 2 days, and it took some of the chromish finish off and just left it like nickel. So it's like a nickel finish on it. And then I think at one time I put some like blackening, like shotgun blackening type solution on here. But these things here, I actually built them up. I got new badges when I built them up and put new badges in the back because the badges actually have weight to them. So when you build these up for swing weight, the rear badges. But these things were just phenomenal. They're soft. They've got a little bit of chunky top line, and they've got a little bit of offset compared to today's irons. But at the time, these things for being a forged cavity back from Callaway were just phenomenal. They were easy to hit. They actually went pretty far. I mean, the face wasn't crazy hot or anything, but they went. And yeah, just overall, just a really solid iron. One of my all-time favorites, which is why I haven't got rid of this set. I mean, I stamped my initials in the toe of them and all that, but these things here were just really solid. And I'm a big fan of these irons. So I haven't taken them out in a while. Usually I get them out once a year. I don't think I took them out last year. But yeah, going 4-through pitching wedge with these. And these are shafted up with Dynamic Gold Tour Issue S400 in black onyx. At the time, the boys over at True Temper I think they sold me a set of these pretty darn cheap. And there were only a handful of sets of these available. I think they built a bunch for like some tour player, and they had a couple sets laying around, and I was able to purchase them off there. So I do have a 4-through pitching wedge in all black onyx, and these have some old V55 cord grips on here. They're starting to get a little slick. They're not super corded anymore. They're not near as as good feeling as they used to be, but they still got a little bit of life in them. I might throw a little bit of hand sanitizer on there to clean them up and get them a little more tacky. But a big fan of these irons, and I think they punched well above their weight class back in the day. So then wedges, we're going to go, again, a little bit kind of new because I don't have a ton of old wedges. So for gap wedge, since we're playing a weak set of irons there, I think those are like a 47-degree pitching wedge. We'll go Cleveland RTX Zip Core 52-degree mid bounce or midsole. So these are, I think, a generation old, the RTX Zip Cores. And this has the Tour Issue spinner wedge in it, but I needed a 52 to go along with the pitching wedge there. This is solid. This thing spins really well. I had the 50 of this as well that I actually played back a couple years ago, and it's just a really good wedge. Again, spins out of pretty much any condition, feels good, looks good, and yeah, just a Dynamic Gold spinner wedge shaft in it, and standard Tour Velvet grip on it. So nothing too fancy there, but it'll get the job done. And then for a sand wedge, again, I needed a 54-degree to kind of go 52, 54, 58, because I'm going to play a 58. So I mean, I'm kind of bunched up in terms of wedges, but I'm going to do a 54 because I was going to go 56, and I was like, well, a 56 and 58 will be kind of together. So I'm going to go the previous gem, the PXG Sugar Daddy 2s. because I have a 54 in this. So I'm going to go 54 in this. I know it bunches up with the 52, but I didn't really have a good gap between 52 and 58. So I'm going to run this guy full face grooves on this thing. So, you know, hitting another bunker, things like that are pretty darn easy. And this thing is soft, produces a lot of spin. I like these wedges a lot. I actually really like the Sugar Daddy 3s as those are in my bag as my gamers. But for this set, we're going to rock this 54, and it's just got a True Temper Elevate Tour shaft in it. So nothing too fancy there, but it should at least be okay when it comes to gapping. It'll be interesting to see how I play wedges. And then for lob wedge, we're going old school, and this is one of my favorite wedges of all time, one of my favorite grinds of all time. But this is the Callaway X Tour with the PM grind. So this has got this little concave sole on it. I love this grind when Callaway had it. It had a ton of float. If you open it up in a bunker, ton of float, floats through the softest sand. If you play it square, it plays with a good amount of bounce. But if you press it, kind of press it forward and play a little like, you know, chip shot with it, pitch shot, it has, you know, you can get the leading edge down really, really far. So really versatile wedge, good on full shots as well. I probably won't hit on too many full shots, but I love this wedge. It was just kind of the raw finish of it. And when I went out to Callaway in 2013, they went in the back. I told them how much I love the wedge and found one of these heads and gave it to me. So it's got the old school Mac Daddy grooves. So this thing's going to shred some covers off some balls. So I won't bring anything too coveted when it comes to golf balls. But I love this wedge. Forged, feels soft. And this has got one of the Fujikura 95 ST wedge shafts. So graphite shaft in here, 95 grams, kind of light, but it still plays pretty well. And we're going with the Golf Pride Tour Wrap G2. So in all white. I used to play these grips all the time. I used to have a million of them back when they were like $3, and they're no longer $3. So, but this is a really good wedge. And I'll tell you what, if you've got a lie out of the rough that you need to stop the ball on the green, this wedge is going to do it because it will shred the cover off the ball. And then for putter, again, going old school, and one of my all-time favorites, the Scotty Cameron Catalina 2 oil can. So this one here, a guy that I met, really good guy. I always, you know, say that this was one of the putters that I wish I never got rid of. I had one, had an amazing story of how I got it. And then I sold it, traded it, whatever I did because I was crazy. And then, you know, I said I always wish I never really got rid of it. I wish I had one. And a guy got me this at just an absolute crazy price. It still has a ton of the oil can finish on it. So this is the Catalina 2. Cut down to 33 inches with a lambkin deep etch cord on it. And this putter, I've got a little lead tape because it's a light head on the bottom. But this just art of putting putter. It's long heel to toe. But I love the look, and it is definitely light. But it's just one of my favorite Camerons they ever made, and I'm a big fan. So this and the Mil-Spec 350 are the two that I wish I never got rid of. I got this one back. Mil-Spec prices have just kind of gone up, so I haven't gotten one of those. But this will be the putter in the bag, and it's always fun to bring this bad boy out for a round or two. So that is what's in the bag for week 20. Hopefully we can start putting together. I was hitting balls tonight in my mat. I was hitting it fairly decent. See if that carries over, and I can score, at least put together a decent score. So we'll see. I'll let you know next week what I shoot, but that is what's in the bag for the Club Junkie Men's League Night, week 20. That's what's in the bag.